So even though most of my life has been spent in ministry, about 10 years ago I really was made aware of the need to help ministry succeed. And during that time I noticed that there's a lot of pastors who were going through fatigue. I myself had gone through it, trying to do a church plant, and for any of you that have ever done a church plant, you know how hard it is. You know the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into it. And it was a huge eye-opener for me. And then also, just over the years, I've been involved with so many various areas of ministry. I've been a director of a nonprofit organization and know what the struggle is with fundraising. I've worked with ministries who are struggling on every level, pastors who are burnt out. You know, I've sat with pastors who are telling me the things that are going on. And I wanted to come up with a way where I could come in and help pastors and help other ministry leaders and be a support to them. And so about 10 years ago, some things shifted in my life, and I was able to move in and really start working with pastors as kind of a support, coming in and just saying, okay, what can I help you with? Where do you need help with? And because of some of my background, I was able to come in and really help on the back side of things, and not necessarily out front where you normally think ministry takes place, but even the stuff in the office and things like that. And then a couple of years ago, I really found my passion was marketing. And so what I did was I was able to change my ministry of still doing the outreach and things like that, but also being able to come in and help pastors and different ministries with marketing, and come in and say, okay, how can we market your ministry so that it looks good, it looks professional, and do it at no cost to your ministry? And so we came in and we started designing posters and flyers for churches and other ministries. We've done everything from that to video commercials for fundraising, to promo videos for a church. And being able to come in and just allow these pastors to share their message and say, yeah, this is why we're here, is to support these ministries. And as much as some people would say, well, that's not really a ministry, and to me it's being a missionary to the ministry leaders. It allows me to come in at no cost and give them something that most churches and most nonprofit organizations simply can't afford. To hire a marketing person alone is going to cost you anywhere from $75 to $150 an hour on average. And so I'm able to come in and say, yeah, this is how I can help out. And so we come in and we've done things like book covers and CD covers for albums that were released. We've done these promo videos, the flyers for community events and things like that, photography for churches. Right now I'm working with a church and actually helping them on the backside and getting all their information that's been for years neglected, and being able to put all of that into computer and get it all caught up with basically with the times, and really just get everything moving for them. And so the problem that I run into is that most of these ministries that I work with are small ministries. The bigger ministries, they usually afford or are able to afford marketing people and people who can help them out. But in my area, what I do is go to the churches that can't afford that. And so this has really turned me into becoming a full-time missionary to ministries. And so that's where your support really comes in, is because we don't charge churches for what we do. And one of the things I'm really excited about is that we are currently adding leadership training into the mix of what I'm doing as far as my outreach. And so we're able to go in and speak to ministry leaders and their teams, their ministry teams, and even their church congregation all together, and help them with leadership training. How do we find the people that are in your church or in your organization that are the leaders, and how do we pull them up? And the people that are leaders but don't act as a leader right now for whatever reason, how do we lift them up and make them a leader? And so one of the things I'm really excited about out of that leadership training is that we're adding a personality training that goes along. And so what that does, that allows us to go in and we're able to work with a group and really get to know the people that are in that group and find out how they work with each other and what they can do to work with each other, and who has what strengths and how those strengths can work here, and yet how somebody else has the strengths over here. And so that is a great program that we're already working in, and we've already done numerous trainings in that area, even as far away as South Africa. And so one of my heartbeats is South Africa. I love going to South Africa and working with the people over there. I work with a great church that's over in South Africa at Lofdale International in Cape Town. And these guys have some amazing outreaches. And so I'm able to go over there and work with their leadership team as well, and really get in and kind of coach them on some things. And we're currently looking at some Christian high school outreach programs, and also working with other churches throughout the area. And so that's where we really need your support. That's where I need your support. That's why this fundraiser is so important to me, because there's so much I can do. There's so much outreach that I can do. But in order to do that, I need to have the funds set aside so that it can be done. Marketing is a very expensive industry to get into, which is why people pay so much for it. Some of the things that we do, it costs me. I have to have cameras, and I have to have lighting systems. I have to have computer programs. I have to have computers, video cameras. One of the things we're really excited to get into is drones. One of my dreams is to have a very nice drone that we can use to fly around and take aerial shots of churches and ministries, and use that so people can have that overview of what the church would look like from outside, and just use it for that way. There's some new technology that's coming out. The problem with marketing is very, very technology driven. One of the other things for me is I do serve as a missionary to overseas, and one of the things I do is go in and work with these churches and leadership teams, and then I also do the parts of ministry while I'm there, preaching and sharing the gospel, things like that. And so those trips, when I go to South Africa, I always go for a couple months at a time, because the airfare is so expensive, and I want to use, I don't want to be someone who just wastes money to fly to South Africa for a week or not something. So when I go over there, we go over and we work for weeks on end. And last time I was there, it was for 3 months. And we go in, and I'm able to go in and do these things and really help out. But even that airfare is $1,500 on average for a round trip ticket. And so again, there's just so many expenses that come along with this kind of ministry. And I do all of this at no cost to the ministry. Matter of fact, I started working for a ministry not long ago, and the pastor said, well, we want to pay you. And I said, okay. And we talked about it, and I really got home, and God just really convicted me and said, look, you said that you were going to do this at no cost to ministries. And even though he offered to pay, you need to tell him no. And he comes from a congregation that has very limited funds. And so I went back to him and I said, look, here's the deal. We're not gonna charge for this work. We'll let God make up the difference somewhere else. And so there's just so many ways that we can help out. I would like to grow this and eventually have more people come on board and help and get more of a team going. But in order to do that, the funding has to be there. And so I am asking you to prayerfully consider making a donation today and really coming on board and helping us do this. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think God had called me to do it. I know this is what God wants me to do. This is why God has given me the experiences He's given me. This is why God has given me the training. He's opened the doors, allowed me to move into things. One of the great things that's opened up recently is that I'm now running a youth group for a church. I am not an attender of that church. I'm not a member of that church. However, the church needed a youth group. They had a need, and I had a background in youth ministry through Youth for Christ South Africa and in the United States. And it allowed me to come on board and fill that gap. So twice a week we run a youth group for them, which there's all of that training that has to go in there or preparing it and putting together lesson plans for the students and making sure everything's right. And again, that's done at no cost. I'm not charging that church anything for the work that we're doing to help out with these youth. I truly believe that the youth are the future, and that if we want our future to be solid, we need to work with these kids as close as we can. And so I would ask more than anything that you consider donating and helping us reach our goal. Right now the goal is at $3,000. And that's just to help with some initial funding, but we obviously, because of the amount of work that we're doing, any amount is going to help. And so the more we can get over the $3,000 mark, the better. And I would just ask that you consider making a donation. If you can come on as a monthly donor and donate that way. You can donate here at youcaring.com/Doug Shaw, or you can also mail checks to Forthright Ministries, and that's at P.O. Box 75, Beloit, Wisconsin 53511. Please just understand that this is the passion. This is my goal, is to be able to help ministries at no cost to them and really be able to work with them and help them out on various things. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you have any questions, please feel free to message me either through youcaring or through Facebook, and that information is also on the youcaring site. So thank you again for watching this. I pray that God would bless you and that you have a great day.